Yes, welcome right in the coop. Here's what I did. The Grosvenor offer. Go on, Paul.
I'll say that. The Grosvenor offer of... Oh, fuck it.
Take two.
Grosvenor sign up offer from Grosvenor Sport is bet £5 and get £25 in free bets on any sport. Kevin, I've not done it a long time, but if you want to pick any sport, what would it be, my friend?
Naked sumo.
It would definitely be kabaddi.
What's that?
I don't know.
I'll be blasting you on this one. Sign up at gsport.com.
How's he wrangled his own?
I don't know. Paul texted me the producer texted me last night about fucking 1 o'clock in the morning saying
it's great to have Tommy when he told me when he texted you. If you told me he was on, I would have been gone. And we he's a cheater. He was playing golf on Friday, cheating for fun.
What do you mean?
Wait, no, and got against him on a different team. He's in a team. I think he was 30 under. I think his team. Unbelievable.
Is he a cheating bastard, isn't he?
But John Hartson can cheat better because he was 31 under.
Are you cheating?
John Hartons's the biggest cheat you've ever seen.
And golf, is he?
I come off the last hole, right? We are sitting top with 95 points, my team, and John's went to me, oh, Kev, Hearts have just fucking eagled the last 2 holes. They've managed to gain 6 points. It'll not be enough though, because I'll make sure to win on it, John. That's my team. His team's went with 97.
What was that you were at?
Up at my hall for the Hearts, Football Legends Golf Day.
Oh, brilliant.
It was class. Kenny was playing for Rangers. We didn't know what team he was going to play for because obviously it was Celtic.
Are you good at golf?
All right. No, did you go up and do that hole? I saw you.
Aye. He goes up and down the hole, don't worry about that.
I bogeyed that one. Yeah. That's a tough hole.
Yeah, good. It was a good day.
No.
So who won? What team won?
Celtic won the overall and Hearts won the overall average. So Hearts are on tour to Forest of Arden, England for the next round.
Oh,
my team.
Who's a better golfer it used to?
It'd be a good game, huh? You having a laugh?
We should video that.
Naked. 29
points he was through 11 if you know. He was only rating because he thought he was playing well and I was ahead of him.
You should do that naked, that'd be brilliant.
I used to be naked.
There's no chance of putting the ball in my hole and he's in the cup.
Right, big news. Jack Ross is away, departure for Dundee United. What do you want to make of the situation? Who wants to go first?
I think it's...
Alright, you're just going to go first, then.
I'm not sure.
Supposed to be here. We put 10 pence in him, man.
I think I'll get my 5 minutes out here. I think he's been unlucky. No great start.
Right. Unlucky in terms of what, sorry?
Slightly almost spat like just unlucky in terms of the fact that he's only had 5 games and I think he won the first game, lost the next 3, and then a great result against AZ Alkmaar at home, shocker away, and then when you're needing a result and your next fixture's one of the old firm, that's difficult. And obviously Celtic's went to time, but I genuinely believe that Celtic could have done that to the majority of the teams in the Premier League. And then obviously seen from last night's result that Dundee United go and beat Livingston 2-1. So how's that all of a sudden turned round?
I don't know.
The players maybe not playing for him. I don't really know. I don't know, but maybe give him a couple more games. Try and give yourself a time. Put the Celtic game as one of those that you're not expected to win. So give him the next 2.
I think it was in the manner that you can't be conceding 9 goals at this level, I think.
In 2 days, it's a 7 and a 9. And it's the manner
it's worrying, isn't it?
Both, you know. I do agree to an extent. It's so early in his reign to give, to make it that call there. But when you lose a 7 and a 9 in 5 games, and then you've lost your first 3 league games this season, because you throw the Celtic game, you throw St Mirren 3-0, which by the way, could have been 5.
Yeah.
St Mirren were excellent that day. And then at Livingston as well. You can understand the decision, but there's no doubt it's early in his reign. In terms of building something over the course of a season, it's so early.
I said it as well before. I think under Ross changed formation so many times. There wasn't really a clear style of what a Jack Ross Dundee United team looked like for me.
Did Jack Ross bring in many players in the window because he came in quite late? Did he get an opportunity to bring in some players of his own?
I think they've signed well, haven't they? I think he's not been getting players.
You've got one of the best squads in the league, I think.
Oh, aye, definitely, but...
Glenn Middleton, Jamie McGrath, these guys, Stephen Fletcher.
You had these players that they've added to a squad that's finished 4th, albeit on a really, really strange season last year. You still look and think they'll be right up there. I mean, Fletcher alone, when you're putting him at the top of the team, a team that's finished 4th and another decent enough season, you're thinking, right, that's been improved straight away.
Well, some pundits actually tipped it to finish 3rd. If you can believe it.
Was that? Slaney, come on now.
I can't believe it.
Ahead of Hearts. Come on.
Hearts, I think you said, didn't it?
I challenged him and Damon Hart's up there, but No, honestly, I think you're spot on.
I went for them fourth.
Did you? I think you're spot on as with the time. It's only 5 games. I need to give time, but getting beat 9-0. Now you coach as well. If your kids get beat 9-0, they're not coming back, are they? Are they? But you don't know.
You're absolutely 100%
right. So no, you can't be.
The wee man got the golden boot last night. He was delighted, mate.
I mean, honestly, seeing Saturday, he was different class.
He's leaving, mate. He's going to
No, he's not. He's not leaving anywhere.
What was the passing? Talk us through it.
It was just 12 of them. I joined in, so 3 in each zone. I was the guy in the middle. Basically, just pass it to the guy in the middle, follow your pass, I pass it out to the right. Sorry, Kenny?
Kept breaking down the middle.
You said on the side. He was on the side of the side.
So just basically into the middle, like this, into the good coffee table, out to the guy. He would get the middle, out to him. So just feeding it round and then reversing it, and then it was simple. Follow the pass.
Good, Kevin.
Take control.
See for him, but see on Jack Ross, there's nothing worse.
He done that drill, Jack Ross, wasn't
But
there's nothing worse when you get. Obviously, he's got the bullet in that, and see when that happens. But it's nothing worse than the team going to win the next game. What happened last night? Beat Livingston. Do you know what I mean? Dundee can still recover, but
they can recover because there's loads of time. But am I saying the transfer window? I don't think they're going to spend the transfer window anyway. But the thing is that they're now going to get to try and recruit somebody who's available. There's obviously a lot of people available.
I don't think they need players, do you?
No, I don't think they need players, but who's recruiting them? Who's recruiting? So they've got the American owners, am I right in saying?
Have they got a guy, a recruitment officer?
Tony Ashcar's.
I mean, like, there's no manager. There's no manager. You're recruiting for what? You know, the next guy might come in and, might not like them.
Yeah. Well, on that topic, who do you fancy for the job? I know, if I was Dundee United, I'd go get Dale McInnes right now. I think
there's a couple in the league. I think Dale, but Dale's trying to build something there, but obviously I think it's a bigger job. And Big Malky seems to kind of get thrown into the mix as well. He was in for I think he was thrown in with the Hibs one as well. So I think within the league there is, though, it might cost money to go and get these boys. That might be the problem.
Yeah. I think Dundee United, by all accounts, I don't think they're short a few quid with the owners that they have, because they obviously are paying well in terms of the players that they recruit in. What about guys like maybe Kevin Thompson, who missed it?
I think Tom would maybe need a championship job to then go
a stepping stone to get to that point.
I think so. I disagree.
The worst, right? I disagree.
So you get the United job on the back of Kelty?
Not on the back of Kelty. I think you could still get the United job without Kelty. Tan Coates got it.
That's true.
Any job. And I think what Jack Ross has to, and you have to learn for it, is you give Tan Coates it with no experience, and everybody's saying, how on earth does he get the job? And he finishes fourth. And then you give a manager in Jack Ross a job who has won the championship, who's managed in England at a massive football club. He's now had Hibs and other, top 3, top 4 jobs in our country. All the experience is there. And look what happens. He's out within 5 games. Great point. Experience, it doesn't mean anything. You need to get results. You need to be good at what you do, you need to get results. It's simple as that. So Tomo, absolutely, I don't think you should rule him out just because he's only managed to Kelty.
He's promised you the assistant job,
absolutely not. I wouldn't go him. He's on my level, mate.
Would you put your name in for this job?
Nah.
Well, I know, but
I just don't think there's I mean, what I'm saying, again, experience and not experience, why not? I just, no done that.
No? Alright. What about Sean Maloney?
Aye.
For me, absolutely.
Aye.
I think Sean obviously can't be judged on his first job and what happened at Hibs. I think in any manager, any coach that comes through and gets an opportunity, it should never just be ruled and judged by how your first job went. We all make mistakes, we all try things, sometimes they'll go for us. Tan Coates obviously got that job, and I bet he didn't even expect to get that offer, that Dundee United job when it came towards him. Took it on, finished fourth, and then decided to move on to pastures new. It worked for him. It didn't work for Sean at Hibs, but who's to say it won't work for Sean again somewhere else? So,
see, the biggest thing for football clubs and when they're getting their manager in, they need to be aligned, and they can't bullshit each other. So, see if the manager says he's going to do something, bring young players through. This is the kind of things that we'll look at. They need to do it. But see, the club, they also need to do the same. You're going to be your remit. This is what you're going to have full control over. This, that, and the other thing. They need to stick to it. So when the manager comes in and it changes, straight away you're at it.
Yeah.
They need to be aligned. They need to get together, and the vision needs to be aligned. And you need to stick to it. You need to stick to it, believe in it, and kind of let it run its course, because as soon as there's any kind of change in what's been agreed between me and you, straight away it's like, well, that's not what you've sold me.
Sold, yeah.
You know, or I've not sold you this. I says I'm going to give young players a chance. No, I've got the job now. But
Signing Craig Brewster.
Bruce back in. You know, when you're signing all the players, just bringing experienced players where you feel that's going to win, you need to stick to what you do, but you need to believe in it and you just need to have that shared vision. And it's these teams didn't
what a pundit. You've been outstanding. Us three should just sit in the flare watching. You should just talk the rest of the show.
But
you're bang on the money.
If it changed at Broomhill, you're actually going to be raging because you've taken something on that's not what you've been sold. You know, so it needs to be like that. So experience, no experience, it doesn't matter. It needs to be the right guy.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Fucking brilliant. Now on to the big one. And
Him, he's not hanging his pants.
So what is the big one?
Celtic Rangers.
Rangers and Celtic at the weekend.
Well, I
You won
called
it?
I didn't say well done to James Girardi, so I don't know how I go for that when he scored to then asking for tickets. Don't know how to break that mould yet, so I will get into him at some point. But on the game itself, I said it, and it'll be talk about your analysis a minute ago. This will rival it, or even probably top it. I think with this game, if you look at it last season, Celtic beat Rangers 3-0 at night. Rangers were early gaff that night, Celtic were brilliant. Then it went to Ibrox. The next game, Rangers take the lead, and then sit off, and then Celtic go and win. Correct?
Yep.
Yeah. Then we go to the semi-final, Kenny, and Rangers change. They get in Celtic's faces. They play a bit more direct. The key point is they cut Celtic's press out by doing that direct ball. You're looking at me as if you're not too sure.
No, I'm listening intently.
Listening intently. And it changed that day because Rangers, I think, had a wee idea how to play against Celtic. And then the game at Celtic Park, where the game was 1 each, but Rangers could have won it in the end. Again, they done that, where they cut the press out, went a wee bit more direct, and they got up into Celtic's faces. So I think it's going to be an completely intriguing match.
So what's your point? Rangers are going to go direct?
I'll never come back on the show.
I think he meant to say Rangers are going to win. So I think
not at all.
No,
Celtic win 2-0.
I felt he was quite heavy on Rangers.
I want to know what the main point of that is.
So my main point is, when you watch this game, you will not see one Rangers centre back passing the ball to another defender or midfielder. That ball will be going straight to a diagonal or Cholak seed.
Think so?
Well, you'll see it. I want see that first half. If that doesn't happen, I'll never come back on the show again. So watch it, man. You want to watch it.
It's just lies, isn't it? It's just pure lies, mate. You're just lying to the audience. You're just lying to the audience.
He doesn't lie when he says 95% of what comes out his mouth. It's lies.
So what's serious about it? What do you think of the game?
It's going to be interesting because I haven't watched Rangers as much as I've seen Celtic this season, and obviously going by how Celtic performed last week, pass move was excellent, but then some of Rangers' goals last Saturday against
that was their best performance of the league season.
Andy would say that up to this point they've been a bit iffy in parts, whereas last week was probably more of a complete performance. And if you're talking about Celtic's 1-2s round the corners, moving off the ball and getting great goals, well, that goal that Cholak scored last week was just every bit as good with
Lawrence and Kent.
Touches. So if both teams come out and play like that, it's a case of who's going to have the consistency and the quality to be in top, because if they both try to play like there's some mistakes going to be, there's going to be, I honestly don't know how it's going to go. The fact that Celtic's at home, I think they'll have home advantage, but I seem to think that Rangers thrive on that, going to Parkhead, having 800 fans. There's an opportunity here, but nothing will define how the season goes this weekend, because obviously we've got a lot of games to go. But if Celtic were to be victorious, then you're looking at 5 points. It's a big start already, so Celtic will look at that. If Rangers was to get the win, then they'll go back to the top of the league with a point ahead. So it's interesting, but it's great to have it so early in the season, Paul.
Celtic win it, I think.
What's your Rangers team for Saturday? Who plays?
Steve Davis plays.
I
think so.
It might also depend on Glenn Kamara's linked with our move today. If he was to leave, then I think he could definitely come into the reckoning for the game on Saturday. I think the back four will probably pick itself. Goalkeepers there. Front three for me again. I think the only spot I would say is up for grabs would be who is going to be in the midfield alongside Lundstrom. So is it Davis, is it Jack, is it Kamara?
Mm-hmm. Who would you go for?
Who would I go for? I like, you know what, I think they've all got their qualities. Yeah. I don't know what brings, for this game, maybe Davo, because he just does everything right. Mm-hmm. You know, he does everything right. He might not have the legs of a Lundstrom or a Jack or a Kamara, but he's just in the right positions all the time. He understands the game. I just think he's an outstanding footballer. You forget how good he is because he doesn't play all the time. Yeah. But see, when he plays, you think, why did he not play more? Exactly. Everybody's pretty much said that over the last 2 or 3 weeks when he's played. So It's a really interesting game because I think Celtic have been flying this season.
They've took it a new level, haven't they?
They are. They have improved on it. The one thing I'd say on your analysis, Slaney, I thought Rangers were better in the 3 games that you were talking about. So even the Ibrox game, everything was getting thrown at Celtic in the second half of that game. The average positions the Celtic players were after it were in the box. The 6-yard box, some of them, because it was constant towards that goal. So it was a different performance for Celtic that day. They had to show a willingness to defend and head and kick and block, and they done it well and they got the result. But I thought Rangers probably deserved a draw that day. Mm-hmm. And the next two, the semi-final and then the game at Celtic Park, I thought Rangers probably just edged them. So it's going to be a brilliant game.
How do you see it going?
Honestly, I don't know what you can call it. I don't know what you can call it. I think both teams now, based on particularly those 3 games at the end of last season, because after the 3-0, the one thing about Giovanni I felt since he's came in, when he's done something that's maybe not quite worked, I think he's learnt straight away. Mm-hmm. So that 3-0, you never seen that performance again. No. There was 3 more forms after that, and you never seen that performance again. Rangers were right at it, and that says I felt they probably edged them over the course of the 3 games, despite there being a win for each and a draw. I thought Rangers
up to this point so far.
Because tactically he's very good. I always think
you could have changed it during the game, I think, as well.
He always gets it right against opposition, doesn't it? Changes to
up to this point. Celtic have started very fast and they've scored early on, so that's allowed them to go on because teams then have to adapt. If they don't, say get an early goal Saturday to start fast, try to
or lose an early goal.
No, if they start fast and say they don't get an early goal.
Or they lose an early goal.
Oh, they lose. Sorry, Kenny. Or they lose an early goal, maybe get caught in the counter-attack. Yeah. So obviously it's a position they've not been in for a wee while. So how do the players adapt to that?
I think they'll be fine.
Do you think...
see last night, George game last night? First time I've seen Celtic underhands kick the ball for a goal, kick up the pitch. Ross County went 2 right up against.
Right up, just to stop the...
Seagrass 3 times second half kicked the ball.
Who to?
Pitch. With Giacomakis you
can do it, but I don't think Giacomakis plays Saturday, so who are you kicking the ball to Keogh?
Can't do it.
So it'll be interesting to see whether they continue to play with Rangers with 2
Rangers would have watched that last night and thought
you would think so, wouldn't you?
It's interesting, the game of cat and mouse.
See before the game, but either team will make any signings?
That new signing looked good by the way last night. See Celtic when he came on. He looks a player, mate.
Well, Big Ange was only on for 20 minutes. Big Ange said that he's in the market right up until
he did say that, didn't he?
He said he's in the market, so it wouldn't surprise me if there'll be...
Brewster, try to get Brewster for United, didn't he? They're going to kick it.
That could be a wee shock signing before the window shuts. Rangers will be trying.
I think they'll try. I think they need to again, depend on... They could lose players. I mean,
what do Rangers need, Kenny?
Kamara's been linked.
Kent Leeds, isn't it?
There was one more player.
What do you think Rangers need? What do you think Rangers need?
Depends on Morelos. Depends on Roof, fitness-wise. Because if Morelos was to go, he'd probably need a striker.
Yep.
Depends what's going on with Suter and Davis. Like, nobody really knows what the extent of their injuries are. And I still think there's a lot of questions surrounding both of them. So, if Kamara goes, maybe you need to strengthen again in midfield. So, I don't know. It just depends who goes. I think their squad's pretty good. I think both squads are actually really good.
Do you think there's any chance of Barkley coming either?
Don't know. He's linked with both, isn't he? Mm-hmm. Don't know. I think he'd be a wonderful signing.
Yeah, sure.
He would be. That could be the surprise. He could end up in Glasgow though. I might get a wee call now, but to pick him up at the airport there.
See if surely they can get Barlow. Like, I know he's a wonderful player. Like, where do you play? You know, or like you've got so many players. But again, does O'Reilly? Is he still getting linked with moves away?
Man United, is he now?
Is that right?
O'Reilly, is he?
He's a good.
What's your Celtic team? Who's your strong? Mine's the Dundee United team. I think that's Celtic's strongest team.
Aye. That's it. For me, you can't really. Who would you change?
Well, I think it'll be between Mida or Abada. Abada plays right and Jota plays left, or Mida left.
I think Abada you get a wee bit more
quality.
You know what he's done with
Barisic. You get more work rate, and I think against Barisic, and it's no harm to Barisic, but it's been found in a few big games. He's sometimes
back post
questionable.
It'd be hard to leave Abada after a hat trick.
Aye,
but he loves Mida, doesn't he?
Aye,
for his press.
Aye.
Fucking so interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everybody's heads are touching.
So basically, we're saying there's maybe one place up for the Rangers who plays alongside Lundstrom, and it's who plays right wing or left wing.
Then you've also got Starfeld or Big Jens.
Big Jens.
Aye. I will go with Big Jens.
I think he'll go Starfeld.
Do you
think so?
I tell you what, you think, Si?
I think it'll go Starfelt.
I think it'll be.
No,
I don't think it'll be
I
far away from the team that's just won against Dundee United.
I think Big Jens has done well.
Watching the now, and he sees he'll just throw an absolute curveball and prove us all wrong.
You see, you can say with Jens, he scored a couple of goals for corners, but so Starfelt. So the arguments are like equalled up, and I think he probably trusts Starfelt from last season more than the new guy coming in. So it'll be interesting to see.
You've played in these games, Kenny, so it's Thursday we're filming this. How would you be feeling 2 days before this game? Would you?
Oh, you're buzzing.
Do you sleep at night? Do you sleep at night?
Oh, easy.
Do you?
Easy, aye. I mean, you look forward to the game, absolutely buzzing. It's what, you're less than 40 or you're 40 hours away now. That's first one of the season. It's always the best one. You know, it's like, you look for the calendar, it's coming up now. Kev's already dressed up properly. Rangers win, they're back top of the league. Celtic win, they're already 5 points clear. A draw, which, when you look at every one of these games on Saturday in the Premiership, I think that there's going to be a lot of few draws. I'm struggling to pick a winner. In any of them, it's a really, really good card. But no, it's a brilliant weekend. Everybody will be looking forward to it. And it's playing in front of 60,000. It doesn't matter if it's, again, for Rangers going there, you've got 99% of the crowd against you. So I think
what did you prefer? Did you prefer the home games or going away?
Honestly, I didn't really care. I just loved the Old Firm games. It was...
Do you go through scenarios in your head leading up to the game?
Like about notching and how you want to celebrate.
No, seriously, because I'm like, well, I know, I used to do that.
It's visualisation, isn't it? Like, you know, you've got to see what you're going to do.
Look at it potentially, so we're talking about Starfelt or Jens alongside Carter. I use a striker sitting there thinking, right,
I'm playing with Starfelt.
I'm hoping to play Starfelt this week because I'm going to get on his. Aye. That's how I used to see it.
The same thing for... but the same thing for what you've seen about Abada, thinking, right, if I'm playing, then maybe I can get the better of Barisic. You know, it's these types of things. Midfield, Big John Lundstrom in the middle of the park, right, okay, I'll show who's the best midfielder in the league. I want to be, I'm that guy, I believe I'm that guy, so I need to go and be better than Callum McGregor. So it's brilliant matchups all over the field.
Were you surprised last night Callum McGregor played 76 minutes?
No, he's a machine, isn't he?
I wasn't, because I think Bruni always seemed to play these games.
Everybody else seemed to have got rested.
Yeah.
And when they got to up at half time, he took off a couple of the boys early, whereas Callum McGregor stayed on to 76.
He went and played higher, didn't he? Moy played as a sitter.
Right.
He's the driving force in the team.
Yeah.
Cal. You know, you've got John, you've got Kyogo, you've got all these players that are coming at the team. Hatates and Turnbulls and O'Reilly, and all these guys are the ones that you talk about. Abadas. These are the guys, Giacomakis scoring goals. Cal McGregor's the driving force in the team. And that's why he plays. That's why he's got the armband. That's why he's the heartbeat of the team.
Can you see if you had to pick, what would be your best Old Firm game you played in?
I probably think the first one I came back in 2008, the 4-2 Celtic Park. It was some game. I mean, we're 4-1 up, and to be fair, it was a doing. It was, I think, Naka scored a free kick, pretty much last kick of the ball, might have deflected off the wall, and then to make it 4-2 and look a wee bit more respectable, but it was a doing that day.
Who was that under?
That was Walter.
Under Walter
against, it was Strax. It was Daniel Cusat's Pedro Mendes goal when he came back to him and he drills one in. It was
Can you see in games like, what was Walter Smith like before the game and team talks and half time and stuff?
He was probably like the calmest in the building. I mean, I felt he trusted his team, so he didn't really need to do too much. Work was done leading into the game. In the dressing room, he would be enforcing a few things, but he would let the madness ensue with everybody else around him. I think, like Big Davy Lavery, he would get right up to high door with these games, and he'd be shouting ball. Me, Jimmy would be there just doing his thing, and the boys would be getting about each other. So it's he trusted his team. He trusted his team to go and do the job.
The Champions League's next week.
Unbelievable.
How do we see? So Celtic play Real Madrid. Rangers play.
So Celtic Real Madrid next week at home.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible.
We're talking about on the county, I think it's just a step too far to go and get a result against Real Madrid.
See, when the draw was done, honestly, that was the time I thought, I can't wait to see Celtic go at it. Because Andrew said over and over again, no matter what they do, who they will play their game. There's going to be a lot of times probably they're not going to have the ball against Real Madrid, but they're going to attack.
Yeah.
They're going to attack. So I was really looking forward to seeing it. And at home, it's a massive ask.
Yeah.
Was it a massive ask against Barcelona? Was it a massive ask against that Man U team or AC Milan's or anybody else that's came along? No. It's not out with the question. Yeah. Again, they drop down, Celtic go up.
Yeah.
You just never know. I bet it'll be Really looking forward to seeing the game.
The amount of European Cups that both clubs have won as well, get into each other. So you're looking
between them, Paul.
Obviously with Shakhtar and Leipzig, if you're in that group and you're looking at, as I said, the current European champions and the former European, how do you even get yourself motivated for that? Do you know what I mean? And as I said, the group will get very tight and sticky at times. And that's when Celtic can go back to that time. Real Madrid can go back to the time where they were in this period like that and they went through and actually went on to do it. So, no, listen, I see they all day qualifying for that.
Celtic could get a result against Real Madrid?
100%.
Yeah.
I would say never, because like Kenny said, you look at back to when they beat Juventus, I think it was 4-3, they beat Man United, Nakamura, you beat Barcelona, Tony Wall.
Times have changed though,
AC Milan, I think they beat AC Milan as well.
The gap's bigger now, so in terms of budgets.
The gap, you're saying the gap's bigger, but back then they had like, you think of Juventus team, they had like Del Piero and guys that playing.
And Celtic, no, but Celtic scored.
Celtic were signing guys for 9 million.
I suppose Celtic back then they would have it your last as a something.
No, but see on that, but it's no, because I watched one with Stratton when they beat AC Milan and beat Man U. Paul Hartley, Barry Robinson, stuff like that. Kind of, you would have been playing in that team. A brilliant team, by the way. I'm not trying to discredit it, but what I'm saying is, you were competing in there, and I feel even under Brendan Rodgers, Celtic weren't competing in Europe. And why do you think there is such a?
But is that because Celtic were probably more defensive one?
Aye, went for it.
Of course, never really went to it.
Like everything can happen under the lights at Parkhead. Celtic's not expected to win.
Real Madrid normally, like, they turn up in the knockout stages, don't they? So you're getting them first game where they're coming to Glasgow and they're thinking, right, it's only a Scottish team. Like, you might just get them off their game a wee bit. Yep. It's not a bad time to get them.
And Rangers have got a good draw as well, because Liverpool didn't look too clever just either, didn't it?
They won the ban Saturday.
It's too bit Bournemouth, mate, isn't it?
I know.
Get these 6 boys that got put to that passenger to go and beat Bournemouth just now.
Okay, right.
It's a brilliant draw. There's a bit of glamour with Ajax, obviously brilliant. Napoli, massive, and obviously Liverpool. It's a really, really glamorous draw, but I think there is points to be got there as well. Are they good as Dortmund, some of them? I think Ajax, a lot of people are saying that might be the team you would pick. I don't know if I would have picked them, but it's maybe one of the managers left, isn't there? One of the more favourable draws in pot 1. Liverpool battle Britain, anything can happen. Napoli, are they probably in the same bracket as, or maybe not even as maybe good as a Dortmund or a Leipzig, where Rangers have went toe to toe with them last year? So I think they've got an opportunity, they can do it. I think first thing would be, could they get third, and still stay into Europa League? But you just never know. Ibrox nights, Celtic Park nights, there's a lot of special things have happened over the years.
Can you see in the Champions League when you played in it, when you're playing against the top teams, did you ever see before the game, like, did you believe you could win, or was it just sort of going out there and be hard to beat and see how it goes?
I think you always believe you can get a result. Both guys that I worked with, Walter, Champions League, it was Gordon Strachan at Celtic, and it was Dick Advocaat the first time I played back in the day. We're a different team with Rangers, to be fair, back in the day. I mean, that team was, the players that were in that team were sensational. But it was more set up, like you said, get the result, defend, don't give a lot away, and give yourself a chance to go and like go and get a result. But with Rangers, we went to Old Trafford, we got a 0-0, which, I mean, I was on an island that night. I think it was a 3-6-1. I think it was. I think they were a back 3, which probably turned into a back 5. 3 guys in the middle, absolute dogging it, or 4 guys in the middle dogging it. I'm out there, standing up there. I think it was it Chris Smalling and maybe Rio Ferdinand, and I'm trying to deal with they two at the back. It just wasn't happening. But it's you were just set up to get a result, or give yourself the best possible chance to get in the result.
So it's crazy some of the results your team's got.
I know
when you think about like these teams should never have been close to even thinking about getting a result. But I suppose in football, like we always say, like a cup final, anybody can win a cup final, semi-final. It's a one-off game, these games. It's a shot to nothing. You've got to look at it as a, let's go out there, Ange will go out there, like you say, you just spoke to him, go out and play the way they want to play. And if it doesn't work,
why would they change though?
Why would they change it?
Every single day.
If we're then saying that the results back in Strachan that we could compete because they've been hard to beat, and then under Rodgers, he's playing this expansive football, then getting beat and no competing, then is it not going to be the same with Ange playing this style of football?
No, because I think Ange...
I said, Ange, no, me, I'm just saying if a devil advocate.
At this moment in time, Celtic are attack, and it's great to watch. But if a team came onto them, defensively they're just as good. Look at Carter Vickers and the boys who've got the back. They can be solid. So although they'll go and try and maybe attack and play their football, they still all know how to do the dirty side of the
It's
game.
not as if it's going to let goals in it.
Right, okay, Real Madrid's got a lot of the ball. Let's get our shape in, get sit in, we'll go back to our 3-5, whatever it is, and we'll just sit in and be difficult to break down. They're not just because they're attacking side going to switch off defensively. They're going to have to work hard, extremely hard. Listen, it'll be interesting to see how we go, but if Celtic were to get anything out of the game and Rangers for the first games back in the Champions League, it would set them up. We'd like to say, Kenny, finishing third, that's probably the minimum requirement, because
I wouldn't go and think that, Mary.
no, I know you're not saying to your players, by the way, we need to finish third. You're hoping that you get some points on the board that gives you a chance of finishing third, but at the same time the goal is to try and finish in the top two.
Brilliant, Kev.
Come on, Kelly.
Kelly,
But what a result, by the way. Away to Hearts last night.
brilliant.
Andy was early gaff, wasn't he?
was he?
Did you speak to him last night? Greeting.
Was he playing?
He was in tears.
First start he beat, didn't he?
He stayed at Robbie's house last night, didn't he?
Robbie didn't come back though, did he?
No.
So I'm just need to go and get him. We need to
Strong
untie
team
him.
as well. When you look at the Hearts team that was picked, it was probably their strongest team they could have picked.
Do you think Hearts, with all these Europa League games coming up, the games they've had to participate so far, like Zurich through the week and that, do you think this might be a different dimension to Hearts in terms of just their standard staple Saturday games where they were flying, got third, now chuck in a Europa League and whatever it is, and then they're going to end up having Conference League, whatever it is. Have they got big enough squad to deal with Saturday, Tuesday,
Well, no, now the voices are such a big
No,
player
now
for
I
them,
think the
isn't it?
injuries are the one. But I ran through their squad because this was something that was getting talked about with the Conference League in mind. I went through their team on Saturday. Sunday. I think it was Saturday.
Sunday, they played Sunday.
Sunday, and then went through the guys that were missing, and I was up at 25, 26 players, like first team players. Right, that's plenty, but they've got a lot of injuries at the moment, and they're having to try and fight. Well, I was going to say on 4 fronts, but it's only 3 fronts now after losing last night. That's why I think Robbie would have went really strong last night. He probably looked at that as a real opportunity that they could have won, because they're a brilliant team, Hearts.
Yeah.
Really, really good. Really like the way they're going about their business at the moment. But that would have been a disappointing loss for them last night. But now, with Boyce being injured, I think he's a big loss. You see them linked already with Louis Moult to somebody maybe coming in and maybe play a similar role. I don't think he's the same player, to be honest with you.
Not as technical as Boyce, is he?
No, I wouldn't say so. He's
What
more
about Nubly?
Target man.
There was rumours of Nubly maybe potentially going to Hearts. I think he would be a good fit.
I think he'd be brilliant.
Good.
I think that's Mikey. It's just Mikey Stewart. It's just through that.
He loves it, boy, doesn't he? Because he does the Friday night
I
games.
don't really know if it's really a rumour or it's just
We
something
can get the rumour going, but for me
Aye.
personally, I think the big guy, Livy Nubly, obviously done amazing at Arbroath,
Yeah.
come into Livy, and he's done well. Powerhouse, strong as an ox. He's not a target man, because he obviously likes getting the ball in the feet and running at people.
He's
It's
no
a different-
Boyce either. I don't know. It depends what they want. It depends what type of player they want. Because
I think Shanklin will get you goals.
Aye.
Are you needing somebody else? Boyce will get you goals as well, but Boyce links up the play,
Boyce
brings other people into play. Does Nubly do that? I don't know. But
It
then
was a wee bit
Nubly-
like the boy Sims for last year now. Like
the
the
Sims.
kids inside
Aye.
of people
Yeah.
can get at them.
It'd be interesting to see, but I would imagine Robbie will be after saxophone the day and it'll be all
We
hands.
need to
to-
stop Andy
But
Green.
brilliant absolutely brilliant for Dale. That result. Win it though.
I say at the start of the season, I think Kelly will be fine. He started
Yeah.
slow, obviously it took them to
Recruitment as well,
last week
Kenny,
to
innit?
get the win. But when you look at their squad, I think it'll compete in the league. Firstly, I don't think there'll be any issue staying in the league. If anything, knowing Dale, he'll be looking quietly. He'll be maybe looking at that last. He'll be looking at Hibs and maybe thinking, right, okay, maybe they're not that good. They're not like a guaranteed top 6. You might be looking, there might be a wee 1 or 2 spots in that top 6. I'm sure he'll be eyeing that, but publicly he'll be looking, right, it's about sustaining their place in the league.
Yeah.
I think Doidge a great signing for him as well. Hibs are playing Doidge in a 1 up front. For me, he's not a 1. Dale plays 3-5-2, puts hundreds of crosses into the box. I think Doidge will score goals there.
He signed well.
Business that really good bit of business that clever for Dale.
He signed well in terms. I like the big boy Ash Taylor. I know he's older, experienced, but with him having him at Aberdeen, he knows what he's getting from him.
Yeah.
He'll be solid at the back, and he's going to get you the odd goal from a corner like he did at the weekend there. So it's bringing in a mixture of experience along with what they had, I think.
I think Power was a good addition as well.
Power, yeah.
Yep.
I thought he was a really good player, particularly the first time at his at Kilmarnock. He was a big part of that midfield that finished third under Steve Clark. Him and Gary Dicker, I think, were the 2 guys that were in there.
But Kilmarnock's obviously on the. I was reading the other day, I think they sold like 5,000 season tickets. Like Kilmarnock didn't used to get 5,000 fans.
Yeah.
I know when I played, it was like 3,000-4,000. The only way we get 5,000 we're doing a relegation battle, but to have 5,000 season tickets sold, obviously it's a club on the up. Good
2 big
honours
results as well. Winning at the weekend and then following that up with a massive win away at Hearts is it just starts to build momentum for them, a bit of belief that they're actually, and a wee bit of pressure off as well. You know, when you get that first these points on the board and you get a massive result that they got last week, it just starts to build a wee bit.
And obviously the draw's been kind to them where they've avoided the Old Firm, so they'll probably be looking at that thinking, you know, we're in a quarter final here, we've got a great good chance of getting to a semi.
Yeah.
I got a wee text and phone call from him last week when things weren't going great for me. He obviously hasn't been results wise what he wanted, still found time to have been alright, pal, enjoying it.
Sums him up, didn't it?
That's good.
That's what he does. That's what he does well, mate.
Bit of class,
Top man.
What about, by the way, and I keep on saying this, I've not seen a lot of them, I watch every highlight I can of them. Hibs, the thing keeps got a mixed bag. With Hibs,
again, how long's he in the job? I still don't think he knows his best team or what formation suits the players that he's got.
Still named us, but lost Aiden.
Big misses,
I thought. Getting knocked at the cup and all the performances and that is not a great start. It's straight away, these cup games, I mean, I don't mind them. I honestly don't mind them at all because they're competitive games. You're having to move into competitive games sooner or later. But with the cup, it can just build a wee bit of pressure on a manager or a team before a league ball's even kicked. And I think just with Hibs, St Mirren, St Johnstone, that they all fell into that category with no getting through in groups that they should be getting through.
Yeah.
It just builds a wee bit of pressure. And I agree with Lee's come in and the results have not been great. I mean, I know the game's 95, 96 minutes, whatever you want, but there's 3 like injury time goals almost at 1 point. You know, so but they kept going to the end, so there's a positive spin to it as well. They keep going, they believe they can get back in it. They got the last minute goal winner against St Johnstone opening day, and the injury time equalised against both Hearts and Rangers. So it's there is a belief there that they'll keep going, but I think performances, but certainly, like you say, performances need to improve because Hibs are another team that have probably invested quite a bit in their team and they would be expecting themselves to be at least challenging the Heartses and Aberdeens and Dundee Uniteds for these 3rd, 4th, 5th spots.
What does it say to if the guy that started centre forward for you in your last league game is now being allowed to go to Kelly on loan?
See, I'm thinking, obviously transfer windows come to a deadline. Have they got somebody lined up to come in and replace him? Is that why they've done it? To get money off the wage bill to a point?
It certainly looks that way.
It looks that way, but I don't see any noise or Mikey Stewart or somebody talking about who's coming in.
He's got
nobody to Hibs.
Brewster, I think they're in for Brewster as well.
But that just shows you like the difference. Like Hibs in this last year got rid of Jack Ross, had Sean Maloney in, got rid of him, and now they've got Lee Johnson in, who, like Kenny says, had he not scored those last minute equalisers or winners, they're 5 points worse off. Where does that put them and how does that look?
Yeah. But the recruitment's so strange as well. Like you say, has Lee Johnson seen these players? I mean, a lot of the players have came from countries that I can't imagine Lee Johnson watches on a regular basis.
And I think also, even like the ones that are maybe more guaranteed signings, Jerry McGeady's and Big Marshy, I think they were even started under Sean. The connection that there is there as well. So it would be interesting. I think recruitment's massive in any club. You need to get it right. It can make or break a manager. But it'll be interesting to see how Hibs go because going into this game at home, it's probably a game Hibs fans will be looking at thinking we need to win this game. So there will be a pressure going into that game for Hibs and Kelly and I were off the back of 2 wonderful results and fully confident that they will fancy it, absolutely.
Aberdeen, 10 well under, good one as well.
Brilliant. I think you tipped in 3rd, didn't you?
No, 4th I think, but I had to challenge Hearts for 3rd. But he looks like he's got his starting 11 sorted, didn't he?
Remember last season when we were getting a few bad results and I think you were big on it and I was in behind you just piping up a wee bit saying that and all about you need to give him time because he's going to get these, he wants to get these players out and get his own players in and get his style sorted in. So until that, you had to give him the time and now you're seeing the rewards for it. So, definitely. But then again, it kind of goes against the Jack Ross thing though. We're
talking about Jack Ross, Lee Johnson, changed so many formations, players. You look at Aberdeen, Jim Goodwin, you know what Jim Goodwin's Aberdeen team looks like.
Aye.
You know the formation they're going to play, you know the personnel.
He's got the players to fit his style of play. So the big boy Majowski up front, who's been excellent, scored goals already.
Pace on the sides.
Bringing a couple of decent loanings from down south, and then what they had, like Ross McCrory being fit, what you get with Ross McCrory is nothing but constant hard work. He's always going to give you a 7 out of 10 every week, making things different to everybody else. But Aberdeen, like you say, Jim Goodwin, if Jim Goodwin had started off bad, then you're going to turn around and say, maybe it's not quite, but he's got rid of what he needed to get rid of, brought in what he needs to, and they've actually got positive results. So that shows you that his ideas are working. Whereas other teams, it's no, like if you look at, I don't know, just an example, say, down south with Gerrard, started off great, struggled the last back end of the Premier League, and they've started weak again. It's like, he's now on the Shigley peg. If Jim Goodwin hadn't brought in the right signings, he would have been on the Shigley peg.
Mate, look at Davy Martindale at Livingston, you know what his team looks like every week, don't you?
Yeah.
He doesn't change formation, personnel. He sticks with what he's and he signs players to fit that system.
And then players can go into pitch and then become almost lost because it keeps on changing. And they can start making excuses about stuff as well. So
making changes every week can't be a good sign, because you've had to do it a couple of times there in your own side where because of injuries or suspends, whatever, and you lose that balance. Whereas the last 2 games you've had a settled team, give or take one player maybe, and you've got 2 positive results from it. It's not a coincidence.
The problem you've got is that when you're in that team. So again, let's just take a Lee Johnson for instance at Hibs. See, when you don't get the results that you're expected to get, there's also a bit of, I maybe need to do something. I maybe need to change it, because the fans will expect things. And I'm not saying that they react off fans, but there will be that. Well, that never worked. And by the way, the reason they never got the result more often than not is because you never done so well. So your question is, that guy the guy to play that role? Yeah. Is he the guy to play? Is he the guy to score the goals? Is he the guy to supply the goals? So you're constantly asking yourself these questions when you actually maybe not found out the right answer yet. So you're constantly looking for that formula. So again, it's really, really important that you find it early. You get the results, and then you actually get that blend of players right. But when you're bringing in all these players, it's hard.
But then look at Ange, Kenny. People said the same when he first started. You need to start getting results, and
there's always an exception to the rule. There's always an exception to the rule, because I say it all the time. You need time. When you're bringing in, I don't know, what did he bring in last year? 12 players or whatever it was. It's impossible to get success. Well, he disproved that. He had the League Cup and he got the league. And he done it really, really well. And his team pretty much played this it's a brandy football that they had been playing previous really under Brendan. Anyway, it's not as if it's completely different, but he hit the ground running. So there's always an exception to the rule, and there's no doubt he was, because the changes and the rebuild that he had to do and the instant success that he got, that's why everybody loves him. Everybody they love his demeanour, they love the way he is in front of the cameras as well, but they love watching his team, the way they play and the results that they've been getting at.
So just a quick question, what you're saying, you as managers, and you're not getting results, and you decide, obviously, you're always going to get noise from the crowd, he's no changing this, he's no changing that, right? Do you go and just change it because you feel you have to change it to give other people an opportunity? Or do you just stick to your philosophy and end up getting the sack and then look back and think, oh God, I maybe should have tried?
All depends how you feel. Right? If they believe that a group or a team is the right team and what you're doing is the right thing, then I think you have to really be strong. But I'll flip it on you. You're not playing in my team, and we get beat 2-0, and you're not playing that week. What are you doing on the Monday morning? You're not my door saying my man will play because you've got beat, because you see there's an opportunity that we've lost. There's a good chance there'll be changes made. I'm going to assert the pressure because I want back in this team. So it's not just fans, it's also players. Because guys that are not playing when the team gets beat expect to see changes because things have not happened. So the manager has to be really, really strong, and he needs to be clear on what he's trying to do, and the people within the team. Because by the way, managers need time to build something, but players also need time to settle. That's another thing that Ange had really, really well, and maybe that's the recruitment side of it. Maybe knowing the types of people he was bringing into the building and having maybe relationships with them, maybe no personal relationship, but knowing the guys he was bringing in, or knowing some of them, it helps. With that settling in period, because the majority of these players did hit the ground running, and it's massive. If they don't, and I'm bringing Big Kyle in as my superstar number 9 signing, and he has a beast at the start, and I'm like, I want to stick by him because I've brought him in, because it reflects badly on me if this guy doesn't turn out to be a good signing. So you need to give them the time to settle, but you've also got to balance it. Well, we're not getting the results at the moment. Maybe we need to take him out. You need to set the sights on for a wee bit, and somebody else needs to come in. But it's really, that's why new managers come in and need some kind of instant success, and that's why we're going right back to it. The clubs have to understand what we're all trying to do. It's not about me appointing you and me saying good luck, so you're the best. I'm just going to sit back here and watch. You need to help. You need to support. You need to understand what we're trying to do. That's why even having guys like your chief execs or your sporting directors, director of footballs, whatever you want to call them these days, see having them in about training, what you're actually doing. It gives them a wee insight into what you're doing and how you're working it.
You know any? Nah, but that was us, Kev. We lost to, still in uni, and Glen office, and so many people say, you need a scrappy win. What the fuck does that mean? What does you need a scrappy win mean?
It means you need a win, that's it. You need to win a game somehow.
We'll move on to the Cootum, Kenny. This is a crap, we've not spoken about this, but Stevie Hamill, my God, what a job he's doing. Motherwell, Dundee United, who do you take there?
Oh my goodness. Honestly, I said at the start, I think all these games could be draws. And I'm not going to sit on the fence, all right, so I'll nail my colours to the mast on one, and I'm going to go Motherwell.
I agree with you.
And the way they've kind of went, they've kind of won, one or two, then they've kind of lost a game Motherwell, but then they seem to have bounced back under Stevie as well. So
they could easily win that Killie game last. They had a lot of chances, didn't they?
But the same token, they could easily have lost it. The ones that they've won, you know, like Aberdeen away, brilliant result. They could have lost it. Opening game of the season, they could have lost at St Mirren. They could have lost it. So it's the games are in the balance. Which I think these games this weekend, a lot of them will be really, really close calls.
Brilliant, Kenny. And Livingston Hearts. It's a hard one, isn't it?
Pitch as well. Yeah, but you know how Davey's going to do. You fancy Livy, do you?
Huh? But Hearts played Thursday.
No, it's played last night.
Played last night.
So did Livy.
You know, I think Hearts is quality. I'll show through. I think they've got a lot of really. I really like Hearts at the moment. I really like what they're doing.
Ross County Aberdeen.
Draw. I'm going draw.
Goals in it or just zeros?
Goals. I mean, Aberdeen have got goals in, but you know, I think Ross County, similar to last season, their performances might not have got the results that maybe they've deserved.
I thought they were decent last night against Celtic.
And they were decent against Celtic a few weeks back as well, where they were right in it against Hearts first day of the season for maybe an hour. They were superb. Like they should have been up against Hearts, and then Hearts got two really, really good goals. It was Forrest and Mackay that day. It was, but Ross County were really, really good there. I think. But Aberdeen they've got a real goal threat. I'll go a 2-2.
Big Malky's done well there, hasn't he?
Aye.
Last but not least, the big one is Celtic Rangers.
Again, am I saying it with any real confidence? No. Am I letting my heart rule my head? Probably aye. So I'll go Rangers 2-1.
Scorers, Cholak.
Well, Cholak continue for me. Seems to be getting a bit of a run at the moment. Tillman's been excellent. I could see him having a big hand in the game, and I'll go Jota for Celtic. Again, Celtic are scoring goals for fun, but I know I'm saying Rangers, that you can't allow Celtic to get into the rhythm. Once they get into rhythm, I think they're really, really tough to stop, and they've done that at Celtic Park. They allowed Celtic to dominate in that 3-0, but they'll definitely have learned. But I think they've got it's a big game for them. See if Celtic do win. That's why I can see it being a draw. I can see it being a draw. But aye, I'll go Rangers 2-1.
Brilliant. I know I've not been asked by Celtic will win 2-0. Kenny, brilliant.
It could end up being a 0-0 fucking
Never be a 0-0.
Hopefully not.
Well done, boys.
Cheers, lads.
Brilliant.